This has to be some cosmic joke, I muttered, staring at the blue-green orb spinning lazily on our main view screen. I, Commander Razix of the glorious Vortellian Empire's 7th Conquest Fleet, had expected more of a challenge. Not this, a planet of primitives who still burned fossil fuels and thought digital watches were pretty neat. Sir, preliminary scans confirm abundant resources. Water covers 70% of the surface, atmosphere rich in nitrogen and oxygen, biodiversity exceeding charts. Mineral deposits of rare elements in quantities that would make our Treasury Director pass out from excitement, reported Lieutenant Brax from his station, antenna twitching with barely contained glee. And the defensive capabilities? I asked, already knowing the answer. We'd conquered 17 star systems. 17. Each one now a productive member of our benevolent empire, thank you very much. Primitive, sir. Nuclear weapons, combustion-based aircraft, rudimentary satellite network, no energy shields, no faster-than-light capability, no orbital defense platforms. I let out a satisfied rumble from my secondary throat sac. Easy pickings. The Emperor would be pleased. Another jewel for the Vortellian crown, and maybe a promotion for yours truly. Bring us into high orbit. Prepare the landing craft. Standard intimidation protocol, I ordered, pushing myself up from my command chair. My 6-fingered hand smoothed down the front of my uniform, adorned with medals from previous conquests. I want boots on the ground in 3 cycles. Commander, came a hesitant voice from the science station. I turned, fixing all 4 of my eyes on Science Officer Nylara. Always the cautious one. Always the worrier. Always attractive with those purple scale patterns, but that's beside the point. What is it, Nylara? Concerned the primitives might throw pointy sticks at us? I asked, earning chuckles from the bridge crew. She didn't smile. Sir, there's something unusual about this planet. I sighed dramatically. There's always something unusual with you, isn't there? Was it unusual when we conquered the Pluvian Collective? Or the Drozerian hegemony? Or perhaps the mighty Trixan alliance that swore they would never bow to anyone? This is different, sir, she insisted, her tail swishing in that way it does when she's nervous. I'm detecting energy readings that don't match their technological level. Intermittent, but definitely present. And there's something about their communication patterns. Enough. I cut her off with a wave of my hand. I've read the preliminary intelligence reports. Yes, these humans are supposedly unique and unpredictable. Every species thinks they're special, Nylara. Every single one. I strutted toward the view screen, gesturing grandly at the planet. Look at them. They still fight among themselves over imaginary lines on their maps. They haven't even unified their planet. What could they possibly do against the might of the Vortellian Empire, whose warships darken the skies of 100 worlds? Perhaps review the detailed intelligence reports? Nylara suggested, bringing up a holographic display. There are several anomalies worth. The only anomaly I care about, I interrupted, is how quickly they surrender. Start the timer, Lieutenant Brax. I bet they capitulate within 7 rotations. Anyone want to put credits on 6? The bridge erupted in laughter and betting calls, all except Nylara, who turned back to her station, muttering something about fools and history repeating. Oh, and Nylara? I called out. She looked up, hope briefly flashing in her eyes that I might finally listen to reason. Prepare your most intimidating lab coat. I want you with me in the first landing party. Nothing scares primitives more than the threat of probing. More laughter. I grinned, showing all 3 rows of my teeth. This was going to be the easiest conquest in Vortellian history. How terribly, hilariously wrong I was. Our landing craft touched down in what the humans call a park in one of their larger population centers. According to protocol, we'd chosen a visible location to maximize the psychological impact of our arrival. Nothing says resistance is futile quite like a massive ship descending from the heavens in broad daylight, but Defensive Formation Alpha, I ordered as the landing ramp descended with appropriately dramatic smoke effects. Remember, show strength, but don't fire unless I command it. We want these primitives intact enough to mine their own resources for us. Lieutenant Krell, my security chief, nodded eagerly. His trigger fingers were twitching. Always too eager, that one. Atmospheric analysis confirms breathable mix, Nylara reported, checking her instruments. Though I'm detecting traces of pollutants that suggest. Yes, they're killing their own planet. All the more reason for us to take it over, I said, adjusting my ceremonial conquest helmet. How do I look? Intimidating. Like a proper harbinger of doom, sir, Lieutenant Brax assured me. We marched down the ramp in perfect formation, energy weapons at the ready, conquest banners unfurling in Earth's breeze. I expected screaming, panic, perhaps some primitive gunfire we could dramatically deflect with our shields. Instead, we found a picnic. Humans of various sizes sat on blankets, eating food, tossing discs to four-legged pets, and taking pictures of us with their primitive communication devices. What is the meaning of this? I demanded. Where are your military forces? Your leaders? Your terrified masses? A small human child approached Lieutenant Krell, holding some sort of colorful plastic device. Weapon, Krell shouted, diving dramatically behind a decorative boulder. Commander, they're armed. The child squeezed the trigger of the device, spraying Krell with a stream of water. The humans erupted in laughter. It's a Super Soaker 5000, dude, the child said, grinning. Chill out. Krell's scales turned bright orange with embarrassment as he peered out from behind the rock. I knew that. I was merely testing your hostile intentions. I cleared my throat, attempting to salvage the situation. People of Earth. I am Commander Razix of the Vortellian Empire. We claim this world in the name of Emperor Zorak the Magnificent. Surrender now, and your transition to Imperial subjects will be painless. A human in casual attire approached, munching on something called a hot dog. He didn't even have the decency to look afraid. Yeah, hi, he said, extending a hand. Mac Turner, City Parks Department. You guys need a permit for this, and you're blocking the Frisbee golf course. Our translator implants struggled with Frisbee golf, rendering it as disc-based religious ceremony. We do not need your primitive permissions. I thundered. We have conquered 17 star systems. Our technology is centuries beyond yours. Mac shrugged. Cool story. But you still need a permit. Also, your quantum drive is leaking tachyon particles. You might want to check the lateral stabilizers. My jaw dropped. How could you possibly know about? Oh great, Mac sighed, looking at his communication device. Channel 7 News is here. Look, can we wrap this up? I've got a meeting about goose population control in 20 minutes. Nylara stepped forward. Sir, this human knows about quantum drives and tachyon particles. At their technological level shouldn't. Silence. I roared, my frustration mounting. You. I pointed at Mac. You will take us to your world leaders immediately or face annihilation. Seriously? Mac rolled his eyes. Not this again. Look, we've been through this routine before. Why don't you guys just call the Galactic Council and save yourselves the embarrassment? They'll confirm Earth's protected status. Galactic Council? I repeated, genuinely confused. Yeah, you know, big space government thing? Lots of tentacles and bureaucracy? Ring any bells? Mac made circular gestures with his finger near his temple. The humans around us continued taking pictures, some making peculiar hand gestures behind our heads in their images. Are they mocking us? Lieutenant Brax whispered. I believe, Nylara said slowly, we may have made a terrible miscalculation. For the first time in my glorious conquest career, I felt a twinge of uncertainty. These humans weren't acting like primitives discovering alien life. They were acting like we were a minor inconvenience to their recreational activities. Something was very, very wrong. Back on our command ship, I paced the bridge, tail lashing furiously behind me. This is unacceptable. Unacceptable. 17 conquered systems, and we're being mocked by creatures who think polyester is fashion forward. Sir, perhaps we should. Nylara began. Full planetary scan. I barked, cutting her off. Maximum resolution. I want to know everything about this dirt ball. Underground facilities, military installations, power sources, breakfast cereal preferences, everything. The crew scrambled to obey, fingers flying across control panels. I drummed my claws against my command chair, watching as data streamed across our main view screen. Sir, called our planetary analysis officer after several minutes. You might want to see this. The display shifted to show deep scan imaging of Earth's crust. What I saw made my scales itch. Buried beneath mountains, oceans, and deserts were structures. Massive geometric shapes of unknown material, connected by what appeared to be energy conduits. What am I looking at? I demanded. Nylara stepped forward, her usual caution replaced by scientific curiosity. Sir, these structures aren't human in origin. The material composition is unlike anything in our database, and they're old. Preliminary dating suggests millions of years. Yet they're still generating energy, observed Lieutenant Brax. Look at these signatures. The display shifted again, showing a global map with pulsing points of light. Hundreds of them, evenly distributed across the planet's surface. The readings are subtle, Nylara explained. Easy to miss if you're not looking for them. But they're everywhere, forming a network that encompasses the entire planet. A defense system? I suggested. Unknown, Nylara admitted. But whatever it is, it predates human civilization by eons. I made a quick decision. Lieutenant Krell, assemble an infiltration team. Target a human research facility. Let's see if they know what they're sitting on. 12 hours later, Krell's team returned, or rather half of them did, looking like they'd been through a meat processor. Lieutenant Krell himself was missing an antenna. What happened? I demanded as medics rushed about. They knew we were coming, sir, gasped Krell. Detection systems we couldn't even see. Weapons that went right through our shields. They were toying with us. Private Plex, nursing a broken arm, spoke up. Sir, we overheard them talking before we escaped. They mentioned something called the Guardians. Said they wouldn't be happy about this intrusion. The Guardians? I repeated. What Guardians? Unknown, sir, Plex replied. But the humans spoke of them with reverence and fear. I retreated to my private quarters, reviewing the data ourselves had gathered. Ancient structures, energy networks, humans with knowledge they shouldn't possess, and now mysterious guardians. My conquest record was perfect. Perfect. I'd subjugated species twice as technologically advanced as these humans appeared to be. But appearances were becoming increasingly deceptive. Computer, access all historical records of failed conquests, I ordered. No results found, the computer replied. The Vortellian Empire has no record of failed conquests. Expand search parameters, include myths, legends, and unverified accounts. The computer paused. One obscure reference found. The lost fleet of Admiral Zexus, who ventured into uncharted space 700 years ago and never returned. Last transmission mentioned ancient guardians and a warning to never return to the forbidden blue world. A chill ran down my spine as the pieces began to fit together. What if we weren't the first to discover Earth? Lone. What if the others never lived to report back? What were these humans hiding? And more importantly, what was protecting them? Commander Razix to the bridge. Emergency. I bolted from my quarters, nearly colliding with a maintenance drone. The ship's alert system wailed, a sound I hadn't heard since our skirmish with the Drozerian battle fleet. Report, I demanded, bursting onto the bridge. Lieutenant Brax pointed to the main view screen. Sir, the humans are broadcasting directly to our fleet, on all frequencies, including the encrypted ones. That's impossible, I stammered. The screen flickered to life, revealing a dark-skinned human female in a crisp uniform adorned with minimal insignia. Her posture radiated authority, but her expression seemed almost amused. Greetings, Commander Razix of the Vortellian Empire's 7th Conquest Fleet, she said smoothly. I am Amara Jackson, Earth Defense Coordination Director. I hope you've enjoyed your visit to our little planet so far. My jaw dropped. How did she know my name? My fleet designation? We've been monitoring your scans, your landing parties, and your rather unsuccessful infiltration attempt, she continued, lips quirking into a smile. Points for effort, though Lieutenant Krell might want to work on his stealth technique. Running across an open courtyard screaming for the Empire isn't exactly subtle. Krell shrank in his seat as the bridge crew stared at him. Now I could waste time with the usual diplomatic niceties, Amara continued, but let's cut to the chase. You have exactly 6 hours to pack up your fleet and leave Earth's solar system. After that, well, she shrugged. Let's just say Emperor Zorak wouldn't be pleased to lose his 7th Conquest Fleet the same way he lost the 3rd and 5th. The bridge went silent. The 3rd and 5th fleets had been officially declared lost to navigational errors. Only the Imperial High Command knew the truth, or so we thought. You're bluffing, I hissed. How would primitives like you know anything about the structural weakness in your quantum drive matrix? Amara interrupted. Or the back door in your defense system programming left by that disgruntled engineer, what was his name? Ah yes, Technician Vorben, who felt passed over for promotion. As she spoke, consoles across our bridge began glitching. Navigation systems flickered. Life support hiccuped. What's happening? I demanded. Sir. Nylara called from the science station. Something's moving beneath Earth's Pacific Ocean. Something massive. The sensor display showed a gigantic shape rising from the ocean depths. Not a human vessel. Not a weapon. Something ancient. Oh, would you look at that, Amara said, glancing at something off-screen. It seems the Guardians are waking up. They tend to get cranky when uninvited guests overstay their welcome. She leaned toward the camera, her smile fading. 6 hours, Commander Razix. Tick-tock. The transmission cut abruptly, replaced by cascading system failures across our fleet's network. Sir, Nylara whispered, her voice barely audible over the alarms. Whatever's rising from that ocean, it's bigger than our entire fleet combined. For the first time in my illustrious conquest career, I felt something unfamiliar crawling up my spine. Fear. 5 hours and 47 minutes remaining, sir, Lieutenant Brax announced, his voice cracking. System malfunctions spreading to weapons and shields. I gripped my command chair, knuckles white against my greenish scales. Nylara, what's happening down there? The science officer's usually composed demeanor had crumbled into open awe. Sir, you need to see this. The view screen switched to a real-time view of Earth. My 4 eyes widened in disbelief. Around the planet, massive structures were emerging. From beneath the Arctic ice, a colossal spire rose, crystalline and pulsing with energy. The Pacific Ocean parted like a curtain as a titanic dome broke the surface, water cascading off its gleaming exterior. Across continents, mountains split open, revealing towers and platforms that had lain dormant for millennia. Magnify Sector 7, I ordered hoarsely. The view zoomed in on a desert region. Humans stood calmly as the ground around them transformed. They weren't panicking. They were waiting, expectant. Commander called our communications officer. We're receiving a transmission from Earth. Different source this time. The screen shifted to show a young human male with copper skin and penetrating eyes. But something was off. His posture was too perfect, his gaze too ancient. I am Tommy Reyes, the human said. But the voice that emerged seemed to resonate on multiple frequencies simultaneously. I speak for the Guardians. What are the Guardians? I managed to ask. The human Tommy smiled with gentle amusement. We were old when your ancestors first crawled from primordial seas, Commander Razix. We seeded life across this galaxy, nurturing and guiding evolution on 1,000 worlds. Behind him, I could see one of the massive structures, now glowing with intricate patterns of light. Humans walked in and out of it, as if they'd been doing so all their lives. You're saying humans are your descendants? Nylara asked, scientific curiosity momentarily overcoming her fear. In a manner of speaking, Tommy replied. When our physical forms began to fade, we sought those who might inherit our legacy. We tested many species. The humans proved uniquely suitable. But they're primitive, I protested. They still use combustion engines. They haven't even colonized their own moon. Tommy laughed, a sound like distant bells. Oh, Commander, what you've been seeing is a facade, a planetary-scale masquerade. On screen, we watched as humans approached the alien structures with practiced familiarity. Some placed their hands on control surfaces that responded to their touch. Others disappeared inside, emerging with devices beyond even Vortellian understanding. For millennia, humanity has guarded our technology, using only what they needed while maintaining the appearance of natural technological progression, Tommy explained. They are our caretakers, our ambassadors, and when necessary, our champions. The pieces clicked into horrible place in my mind. You've been hiding in plain sight. Indeed. Tommy's eyes glowed faintly. Earth is not merely a planet, Commander. It is a sanctuary. A library of knowledge and power accumulated across eons. And humans are not its inhabitants, they are its guardians. Across the bridge, our sensor displays lit up like festival lights as more structures activated across Earth's surface. Each one dwarfed our largest battleships. Do you understand now why your Emperor's previous fleets never returned from the Forbidden Blue World? Tommy asked. What? A cold realization washed over me. We aren't the first to discover Earth. Nor the 100th, Tommy confirmed. Many empires have looked upon Earth with coveting eyes, but none have succeeded in claiming it. The council that Human mentioned, Nylara whispered. The Galactic Council. Tommy nodded. Those who learned respect were welcomed as friends. Those who persisted in hostility, he shrugged. Let us simply say they are remembered only in their own histories. I slumped in my chair as the terrible truth sank in. My perfect conquest record. My dreams of promotion. My very survival. All now hanging by the thinnest thread. The Vortellian Empire has stumbled blindly into the most heavily protected sanctuary in the galaxy, Tommy said, his voice tinged with what almost sounded like pity. What happens next, Commander Razix, depends entirely on you. 5 hours remaining, Lieutenant Brax announced nervously. I'd spent the last 47 minutes pacing the bridge, muttering calculations and contingencies. My impeccable military career wasn't going to end like this. Not today. Not to a bunch of primitives with powerful friends. Charge all weapons, I ordered suddenly. Target the largest Guardian structure in the Pacific. The bridge crew exchanged alarmed glances. Sir? Nylara ventured. Did you not hear? I heard. I snapped, tail thrashing wildly. And I don't care if they're the cosmic janitors of the universe. No one humiliates the 7th Conquest Fleet. No one humiliates me. Weapons charged, sir, reported the tactical officer, his voice quavering. Fire! Our flagship's main cannon discharged, sending a devastating energy beam toward Earth. For a brief, glorious moment, I allowed myself to imagine the Guardian structure shattering, the humans cowering, my triumphant return to the Emperor. Instead, the beam simply disappeared about halfway to its target, vanished like it had never existed. Sir? The tactical officer tapped his console in confusion. According to our readings, our weapons just turned into butterflies. Butterflies? Actually, sir, Nylara clarified, checking the readings. Earth butterflies, but made of energy. Quite beautiful, really. Before I could process this indignity, our ship lurched violently. On screen, we watched as our fleet's support vessels began drifting away, all power systems offline. Sir. Engineering reports all reactor cores have been transmuted into what appears to be strawberry pudding, Brax reported, staring incredulously at his console. Pudding. I roared. That's impossible. Nylara's console beeped urgently. Sir, External cameras are showing. You should see this. The view screen shifted to show our own hull. Where once proud Vortellian battle armor gleamed, now pink floral patterns bloomed across the metal. Our fearsome weapons arrays had transformed into what appeared to be ornamental water fountains. They're making fun of us, I whispered in horror. Escape pods launching, sir, Brax reported. Crew abandoning ship against orders. Cowards, I shouted, but honestly, could I blame them? The bridge doors hissed open. I spun around, expecting more deserters. Instead, Amara Jackson and Tommy Reyes stood there, somehow transported from Earth directly onto our bridge. How did you? I began. Guardian Tech, Amara shrugged. Makes transporters look like child's play. I drew my sidearm standard issue commander's disintegrator and aimed it squarely at her head. Stay back. Amara didn't even flinch. Go ahead, pull the trigger. Trembling with rage, I did. The weapon made a sad little PFF sound and ejected a small paper flag that read bang in Vortellian script. Seriously? I stared at the weapon in disbelief. We thought you'd appreciate the classic touch, Amara grinned. With a primal scream, I lunged at her only to find myself frozen in midair, suspended by invisible forces. Commander Razix, Tommy said, approaching me with that same maddeningly calm expression. Your empire has committed atrocities across 17 systems. By Guardian law, we could erase the Vortellian species from existence. I swallowed hard, still hovering helplessly. Fortunately for you, Amara added, humans have argued for mercy. Despite everything, we believe in second chances. They gently lowered me to the floor, my legs buckling beneath me. My mighty conquest fleet reduced to pudding engines and floral-patterned hulls. My fearsome reputation in tatters. Why? I asked hoarsely. Why show mercy? Amara knelt beside me, her eyes surprisingly kind. Because that's what makes us human, Commander. And why the Guardians chose us in the first place. 6 months later, I stood in the Grand Hall of the previously unknown Galactic Council, watching Emperor Zorak's hand tremble as he signed the Treaty of Sol, it formally recognizing Earth's sovereignty and protected status. The Emperor shot me a venomous glare. I couldn't entirely blame him. Gone was my commander's uniform, replaced by the simple garb of a cultural liaison. Demoted 17 ranks in a single day, a new imperial record. The mighty Commander Razix, now Junior Diplomatic Assistant Razix. My conquest days were over. Oddly enough, I didn't mind as much as I'd expected. Human representatives mingled with delegates from 100 worlds I'd never known existed. Species we'd conquered now looked at us with barely concealed smuggness. Everyone, it seemed, had known about Earth except us. Quite the plot twist, huh? Amara sidled up beside me, sipping something called champagne. You could say that, I muttered. 17 successful conquests, and then I picked the one planet in the galaxy that's basically a cosmic do-not-touch sign. She laughed. Bad luck. Though I'm curious, I admitted. If the Guardians are so powerful, why not stop us from conquering those other worlds? Free will, Tommy explained, joining our conversation. The Guardians believe all species must find their own path. They only intervene when their sanctuary is threatened. So humans just pretended to be primitive all this time? While sitting on technology that could dominate the galaxy? We're caretakers, not conquerors, Amara shrugged. Besides, would you have believed Earth was important if we'd announced it? She had a point. We'd likely have assumed it was a bluff and invaded anyway. Your new assignment begins tomorrow, Tommy reminded me. Earth's embassy on Vortex Prime. I groaned. Explaining human culture to Vortellians. Punishment indeed. Consider it an education, Amara winked. You might even learn something. As I watched humans demonstrating Guardian technology to astonished diplomats, I couldn't help but compose a mental warning to would-be conquerors throughout the galaxy. Beware the species that seems primitive but isn't afraid of you. Beware the planet that doesn't match its technological profile. But most of all, Where the deceptively ordinary blue world called Earth, where the universe's most powerful technology is protected by creatures who turn your weapons into butterflies and your engines into pudding, all while offering you a second chance you probably don't deserve. Also, their coffee is oddly addictive. I'm drinking my 4th cup today. Razix out.